Good morning. Let's try that again. Good morning. Morning. I hope that you enjoyed the dinner last night in this beautiful hall next door. I understood that it was actually built as a hotel, so it was not an old palace or something, but the end of the 19th century. It was developed as a hotel. I hope you enjoyed the dinner. Hope you enjoyed some wines. I don't know if anybody went into the town as well afterwards, but I'm very glad that you're all here again, right on time at 8:30 for some more. Because believe it or not, we are just halfway. Of course, yesterday we looked at setting the stage, AI for happiness, the more ethical side of AI, the next frontiers in AI, neuroscience as a next frontier, our brain interface. And then, of course, we also looked at how to fix the future with Carl Miller, with Andrew Keen, who was surprisingly mellow. For those of you that know him, he could be much more thundery, I would say. And then, of course, the debate with the CIOs, trying to make sense of it all. Today we have 8 more speakers going into 2 topics. First, understanding the new generations, and then later on we are going to focus on your role in the utopian digital society. So if I look at the lessons, at some of the quotes that I saw yesterday, if I can see my quotes on the screen. Okay, so some of the things, just some random things that I wrote down that I found quite inspiring or quite interesting. Success in business goes to those who best understand and shape the new potential. And we're hoping that we are contributing, that we're inspiring to do that. Technology provides the options, but it is society that chooses the future. The best predictor of happiness of a society, of course, is the level of trust. And we saw this wonderful graph from Nell Watson. And then, last but not least, software does not have goals. We have goals, humans have goals, but software does not. If I look forward to this new block, this next block, understanding the new generations, then I think that you start to understand that this new world, this synthetic world, is actually a world where online and offline come together, where there is no difference anymore. We still think in a digital world and an analog world, but this new generation, having been born with basically a smartphone in their hands, they don't make that distinction anymore. They are always online. They are, as our last speaker will explain to you today, they are on live. They're always online. And what is quite important is to really understand this behavior of these generations. I don't know if I have a clicker here. Yes. Because one of the thought leaders that I'm very fascinated about, Clay Shirky, looking at the impact of social media, he teaches us that the revolution doesn't happen when society adopts new tools, it happens when society adopts new behavior. And that explains why we at Sogeti Labs, together with Menno, Sander, Thijs, we're so fascinated about how these tools are being used by this new generation, how this is driving the behavior of this new generation. A lot of that behavior we don't understand. It's quite weird to us, it's quite alien to us. But we have to understand that this behavior is creating expectations. And those expectations are creating a shift in values, as Menno explained at the beginning of yesterday. And you, as an organization, you have to basically rewrite the story of your organization to make sure that that story reflects those values. Because otherwise there's a huge disconnect between your organization and these new generations, and that can only be bad news. If you're disconnected from the majority of your customers and the majority of your employees, then that won't be a good thing. You will agree with me. So that is why we are looking at these generations. And yesterday we did this poll asking you in which year you were born. Most of you are Gen X, some are baby boomers. I don't think we had only one Gen Z or synthetic generation, as we like to call it in the room, and some millennials. These people are not only formed by the technology, because this technology has been presenting to them in their formative years, so they have internalized the technology, but obviously they're also formed by the events, the big events in the world. Trump, Brexit, fake news, social media natives, influencers, those are the trends that form their opinion, that form those values. And then we believe, that's why we believe, and also Carlota Perez explained it to us, that we are moving into a next phase of the impact of technology. We call it the post-technology era. Not the non-technology era. Technology is still very, very much important, but it's not the focal point of innovation anymore. It is post-technology. The focal point become other things. And then Sander and Menno explained yesterday that these values that this new generation brings, it is about post-hierarchical, right? Where reputation is the new currency, where the network itself becomes the trusted party. They're post-realistic. They deal much easier with these different realities. They just see reality as another hurdle to overcome in the fulfillment of their dreams. We see reality as a given. That's reality. For them, it's just another barrier to overcome. And they change it. They live in several realities. And then last but not least, they're post-materialistic. Not non-materialistic, they're post-materialistic. Yes, materialism is important to them, but they are looking for purpose. They're looking for a higher goal. They want to make a difference in the world. They want to solve all the crises that we have created for them. They want to solve them. They want to make a personal difference. And they will look for employers. They will look for organizations that can explain very clearly to them what the differences is that those organizations make in the world. And so Menno explained it as well. He introduced this word, stay woke. And what does it mean for you as an organization? To be woke, it means that you have the happiness of your customer and your employees at the core of your digital strategies. The well-being of those who you serve, that has to be at the core. You have to make sure that your organization and what you produce, services, products, that they positively impact society. And you have to have a very clear moral compass that is ruling your technology choices. And that's, well, I don't want to tell you what your job is, but this is becoming increasingly important. People will turn to you for guidance, for wisdom on how we make the right technology choices, how we use, for instance, AI benefiting all. Now then, I think that Menno summarized it very well when he said, forget about digital transformation, it's about synthetic now. It's about this new wave where it's about inventing, reinvention instead of technological innovation. And he already quoted the work from DJ Bonnet, our colleague, who wrote this wonderful book a couple of years ago, Leading Digital, where he looks at those two axes, your digital intensity, your technology intensity, but also your transformation capability. And you can only become successful if you marry the two, right? Investing only in technology and not being able to transform your organization won't cut it. Now, if we move to this new phase, this synthetic phase, even this graph is not enough. And then Menno introduced this third axis, this purpose axis, this axis or wokeness axis. And he called it that you, next to a digerati, you have to become a purperati, as he called it, as he invented the word. And I like the word, purperati. So when you go out, home, later today, please take this one word with you, that you have to become a purperati. I don't know if your organization will understand. We wrote a whole series of reports to explain what we mean with this purperati, but that should be the conclusion of today. So now, let's dive into the next phase, this understanding of these new generations. And before we do, I think I want to ask you again a Busmaster question. So if you can take out your device again. Thinking about this new generation. We are well off, but what about this new generation? Will this new generation be better off than us? You still know how to log in. I think you're still logged in to the system. Go to the Wi-Fi settings, look at the Busmaster network, and then open up your browser. So we see the first people already casting their votes. So it's quite good to see that you all have confidence in this new generation, right? Although we have created many of these crises for them, you are quite confident, 70% of you are quite confident that they will be better off. But then the next question that I want to ask you is, who will lead us into the future? Is it us that will lead the next generations into the future, or will it be these new generations that will lead us? Also quite surprising, to me at least, that the new generation will lead us into the future. Also 70%, quite interesting. So let's start building our understanding of this new generation. Let's dive into it a little bit deeper. And before we start looking at some of that behavior, that new behavior of this new generation, I'm very happy to introduce to you the first speaker of this morning.